we get somewhere in Georgia and the engine blows. We're on a shoestring budget vacation, okay? This is all cash. This is a major fix. You need valves, you need all. I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, I have a lot of stories like that though, but it always comes through. It's true. Like, time slows down, fractions of a second. Thoughts are running through my head. I probably had 30 thoughts assessing that very second, like, what's going on? Was that a gunshot? That couldn't have been a gunshot. I smell gunpowder. Yeah, that was a gunshot. Where did that come from? Where did it go? My foot's hot. Why is my foot hot? I think I've been shot.
According to my son, this is going to get 400 million likes and people loving it. So we've got some work to do. And I always hate doing the like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. You know, but do all those things, and we can make my son happy by giving us 400 million people enjoying this.
I'll do my part.
Welcome to another episode of Charting Life. This is a fun interview one with my friend Brandon, who is also named very similar. You were named after me, though you were born before me, right?
Correct. Sure, whatever works for you.
Right. Anyways, I think this will be a great interview. Someone I wanted to have a chat with in general for a little while. So I think he's got some really good stories, good stuff to talk about, and we have a lot to get into. So, first off, why don't you just tell us who you are, what do you do, and what kind of makes you you?
My name's Brandon again. Brandon Matthew. As like you,
just like me, Brandon Matthews.
And I don't know how to answer with what makes me, huh?
Yeah. We'll get into that throughout the course of the episode of the show today. But like anything interesting about you? What is your favorite food? Let's just start super simple.
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Okay.
Peanut butter would be my all-time.
All right.
My all-time favorite.
So like straight spoon to mouth, or like do you put it on a sandwich?
Bro,
or both?
I mean, it could be. I don't think there's a wrong way to partake of peanut butter. To be honest with you, I don't. I take it in a Reese cup, straight out of the jar, in a sandwich. My daughter made me an awesome Father's Day cake, and it was Reese cake. Yeah, I shared it on the men's group.
Oh, I saw that, and I was so jealous. I need this.
It was amazing. And with my kids being a couple of my sons also being fathers, I told them they had to take some because it was I'm not diabetic, but I would have been by the time, because I would have eaten all of it.
Right.
And I told him, I was like, you have to take it.
Yeah,
I mean, because I will eat all of it, yes. and I need it gone. So, but I guess again, my name's Brandon. I own a Pack Mule Moving, just outside of Louisville.
Right.
Father, and of 4 wonderful kids.
What about the 5th one? They're not wonderful?
Oh, no, they're not.
All right. So let me, maybe get into some, childhood stuff. Did you ever travel or go on vacation when you were a kid, or was it always like our vacations down the road? Like what was that like?
As a kid, we did not really do a whole lot of vacations. We did not grow up with very much money.
Right.
So
I know I grew up with all the poor vacations. We stayed with somebody's family. Whatever you can get on a tank of gas is kind of where we would go.
Right. We did. We would go to Deems Lake up in Indiana. Things that we did one big vacation to Disney World.
Okay.
I was 8.
Man. Yeah.
And it was great as far as I can remember.
Yeah.
It was fun. I mean, I remember Epcot. I think it was like brand new at the time, or really relatively new at the time.
Don't show your age.
And I remember the earworm of It's a Small World.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, It's a Small World.
Seared into my soul.
It takes you right back.
It was rough. And yeah, I mean, that was great. Going to the beach, you know, as a kid, that's, you know, I mean, but really, really wasn't a whole lot of vacations. You know, we just spent summers outside. That was
just
it.
kind of your in-town vacation. You're going to go and find whatever trouble you can get yourself into.
I grew up in a great era.
Right, you did. You really did.
I mean,
you're a few years older than
those
those
Facebook memes about our parents had no idea how far we rode our bike.
Right.
That was my era. That was we.
Had they known how far you went, would you think they would have said something, or just, be careful?
I don't know. I mean, it was. But yeah, it was.
Here's the question: if your kids were going out as far or getting into the same stuff, what would you say before your kids getting to go out the door? Like,
yeah,
hey,
it's.
If you had a premonition, like they're gonna do what I was doing at their age.
Man.
What would you at least tell them?
Different.
You realize they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do regardless of what you say.
Right.
What do you tell them?
I it's different, between my boys and my girls.
True. Yeah. There's an age difference and the
age difference. But I'm just saying in general. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, you put your age. Mm-hmm. But if you put boys and girls, mm-hmm. it's different.
Yeah.
With my boys, I had them young. It was different. It was just a whole different time in my life. They kind of had a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. They didn't grow up. I mean, cell phones were around, but they weren't as.
Everybody didn't have one.
Yeah, they did, and it was, but it wasn't. I don't know. I just don't feel like it still wasn't. They weren't that addicted. They were still kind of boys at that time. It was. I mean, I know it was only I don't know. I mean, they're 26, so I mean, yeah, 13, yeah. I mean, 12, 10. I mean, it's been a long. Man, yeah, it has.
Well, and it's interesting. Just if nothing else, that's an interesting comment. I know our friend Derek does the grain-free homestead. We did an episode with him previously,
right?
But he was saying that with his kids, sometimes when they started acting a little nuts, they'll turn all the electronics off, and just you got to go outside and play. Like you can't be inside. They'll even mess with food stuff too. No red food, whatever. But as far as electronics and video games, cell phones, like turn it all off. Just go outside and figure your problems out. And it kind of hits a reset there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was overall. I just think it was different for my boys too. They grew up in more of a community. Mm-hmm. We lived in an apartment community, and then we lived in neighborhoods.
Was that kind of like an active community?
Versus, I mean, just places they could get out, get around. They could make friends.
They could know your neighbors.
Ish.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I mean, it's not even just so much that. It's just that they have more people to interact with, especially versus my youngest. Mm-hmm. She spent most of her time up here,
right,
on this hill where she had one friend across the street, and now that friend is kind of hermit.
Yeah.
She doesn't come out. She doesn't talk. She doesn't. She's her entire thing is online, and it's wild.
Right.
Like her entire
social
life is online.
Because that's bittersweet. Because she can't just hop on her bike and go down into a place where there's more.
Well,
people,
yeah, that's one.
But you can get online.
But we have a friend getting ready to move across the street, and their daughter's going to be up here, so she'll have somebody to be outside and interact with. Because she used to go out and hang out. I mean, mm-hmm. She just broke her leg.
Down the hill
here.
I do gotta say that is really nice. Like when I saw that, not that she broke her leg, but the fact that she was just going on her own adventure, hiking down the hill, and got a little too close to a rock cliff. It took a tumble off, but still, it was the fact that she was going out there and having her fun and doing her stuff and didn't have to be tied. I think the more successful kids today are gonna be a mixture of. You're kind of tied to your phones, but not so much that you're still going out. Like, it's not... You're going to have those who can't get away from their phones. You're going to have those who are hermits, like, almost as if they're weird Amish people or whatever. And then you have those who can kind of, like, do both without having to... I feel like that's going to be the next wave of more successful people.
Yeah, there's got to... I think it's just finding that balance. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, these things are literally designed to be addicted.
Absolutely.
I mean, they want you attached.
One of the things that I've noticed recently, so you got, YouTube or whatever, you got the shorts, which I like them, and for the most part, I think I'm pretty good. And I'll watch 3 or or 5 or something, and
then
shut it
down.
Shut down. But it's not only that the shorts cut the attention span down to like 20 or 30 seconds. I've now noticed it's divided, and like the top half is a video of somebody talking, like a clip, and the bottom half is somebody like cleaning a rug or playing a video game or something.
I've
and you have
noticed
the text coming
that.
Like you just really cannot focus for 25 seconds.
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
It's just the next step up in attention. Like it holds your attention. It does a good job, But
so is it? I've noticed that. It's a lot of times I notice that the videos are of someone running around on like Minecraft or something.
Yeah, they're jumping around doing something like a car racing game or whatever.
Yeah, something.
It's kind of like you watch it and it's mindless, at least for what I've seen those. Like if it was a longer video, like 10, 20-minute video, and you're watching it and you hear the background, conversation going, you could probably drift off to sleep.
Right. But I just didn't understand.
Bursts, yeah.
I don't understand. I'm trying to understand what it is. Like,
I don't know
there's got to be a psychology behind it.
Oh, yeah, definitely psychology. And it works, though. It works. I've honestly, when teaching the teens, as a youth pastor, I've thought occasionally about throwing one of those videos on the screen while I'm talking. Oh, man. And maybe I'm just going to like and subscribe to Jesus, and maybe they'll listen. I don't know.
What? You just need to do your entire lesson in minute 30 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, man. So I'll go off the rabbit trail for a second here because I am this way. I am long-winded. I have a hard time, regulating my time and stopping at a certain spot. I can be a bit long-winded.
Just driving your point home.
Yeah. I do that quite a bit. But I got to one point where I was trying to cut my talks shorter, like 15 minutes, so we could have time for other stuff and discussions and whatever. Right. And so I made them a deal. Like, listen, I'm going to set a timer for 15 minutes. And as long as you don't interrupt me, if I go over on my own sense, I'm going to do a push-up for every minute that I'm over.
Oh, wow.
And they held me to it a couple times. I won't name names, but a couple of them were like, I think you were over. Like, yes, I was over 2 minutes. I'll get down and do my push-ups. And that was good. But so let me, I guess, pivot a little bit as far as traveling. You said you guys didn't do vacation much. With your job now, you actually do get to travel a lot.
Yeah.
Do you have any crazy traveling story? I'm sure you do, but what is a crazy traveling story? Whether it's from your job now or otherwise, where things just kind of
let me think, because I saw the question was, what kind of a wild story did you have while there was one while on vacation, and we did have one when the kids were young. We went down to the beach. We went to Gulf Shores, and we were going, and I had just fixed our vehicle, and I thought everything was good. I had it. It was a Mountaineer.
Okay.
An O2 Mercury Mountaineer. Just a terrible V6 engine. These are awful. They're horrible engines. And didn't know this, until after purchased and everything. So this was, a relatively low mileage vehicle. And so we're going, and we get somewhere in Georgia, and the engine blows. And we're on this vacation, mind you. This is early on. We're on a shoestring budget vacation, right. Okay? This is definitely not something that I can really afford.
Right. You're hoping
at this point. Yeah. This is a everything's budgeted out, and this is when I still had bad credit. I had maybe a $400 credit card to help me out on all this. This is all cash, and we had a set budget. We're going, and the engine blows, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So we're down here, and this is a 3-row vehicle. Okay, and we
How
had
many kids?
that, and then my mother went too, and she went with a rental car, and so and my aunt was with us. I mean, so we had 8 people, and we went down on this vacation, and the engine blows in Georgia, and I mean I'm totally stressed, completely stressed out at this point, and I couldn't afford hardly anything, so we got a what's that what was that car with the hamsters, Kia,
Soul.
the Kia Soul.
Yeah.
So
The
we
commercial-
replaced a 6-7-seater Mountaineer with a Kia Soul.
You just like jettison the luggage and say,
Hey,
"Everyone gets one
no,
change of clothes,"
as
or-
a mover, I crammed everything in between the rental car of my mother's and everything. We're in this Kia Soul the rest of this trip. I mean, and this was the early days of the Kia Soul too.
Mm-hmm.
So, it felt like you were driving a skate. It was
A
awful.
single-
like a single skate down the highway. It was so rigid. It was completely packed. The suspension's awful. It was, and we went all the way down and finish it up, and we bring it back because I mean, it was cheaper to bring it back than it was to that same place because I was going to drop my vehicle off at a shop, have them look at it while we were gone, and then come back the same way and see if they were like, no, your timing chain, everything's no. This is a major fix. You need valves. You need all. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I abandoned the vehicle there, and with the idea, I'm like, dude, give me a few weeks to figure out financially how I'm gonna come.
Right.
I
You wanna buy
can't
the car.
afford. I mean, I'm still paying on it at this point, so no, that ain't gonna work. And then I come back, and the Lord provided a way. I had a job to Florida, so hauling a car on top of that. So I took the
Oh my
vehicle with a car hauler all the way to Florida, then looped back.
And
On the
picked
way
yours up.
back, looped up, picked up my vehicle
Oh man,
on the
That-
way back,
that worked out great. Yeah.
and dropped it off in Southern Kentucky. A friend of mine, he's like, I got a buddy of mine who works on car. He'll fix your vehicle, and so I dropped it off there on the way back. It was I have a lot of stories like that though.
Right.
Like everything is always just right there. Something
Absolute
always
chaos.
happens. Absolute chaos, but it always
then
pulls.
somehow pulls
Yeah, it
through.
always comes through.
Man, that's
Yeah.
that's incredible. I know my family. I want to ask my parents how they financially made this happen, but we were also a very shoestring budget.
Mhm.
It was somehow a large family vacation. They took it was like a day cruise out to the Bahamas where we stayed out there for a few days and came back. And the only reason we went is because family paid for us to go. And so we
Right.
turned that into visiting some other family in Florida. And we made it to Macon, Georgia on the way back. And the transmission blew in
Right.
the car. Just enough time for us to get up the ramp and downwards to the gas station.
Right.
It was great, and then there was some policemen who came by, and we were able to pick us up and take us over to a hotel. Take me, my brother, and my mom over to a hotel, which looks great coming in a hotel. A policeman's coming and dropping us off. It's the only time we rode in the back of a cop car. But we were there for about a week because there were certain parts that they couldn't get in stock, and I have no idea how they sorted that out. But that was nuts. I was just thinking about that as you were telling your story, where it's like, man, it's just it shouldn't have worked out, and it should have just been horrible. It kind of was, but it worked. But again, it worked itself out, which is great. But I imagine, like you said, where things have worked out, has that like played a part in your faith as well? Like Did you see some of this happen before you started coming around to Christ, or was it just kind of?
I mean, yeah, I've always figured it's always gonna work out, and yeah, faith wise, yeah, I mean, I'll get really stressed out, and to the point where I'm like, and then finally I just gotta be like, oh, why are you stressing out about this? Ultimately, you really have,
But you've only done as much as you can.
You've done as much as you can. It's either it's going to be or it isn't. And I need to quit trying to stress about it. Now that's something I've still yet to master. But
I think that's I think for like a lot of us, that's probably a lifelong work in progress. Maybe you get incrementally better. For me though, it's like it's kind of like steps forward and then a couple steps backwards and steps forward and backwards.
Right.
I was like, okay, I've done all I can do, but can I find something else to stress out about this?
Right. Yeah. I'm good at figuring it out. That's the next thing to. Okay, God, I'm going to trust you with this, but what about this?
Right. Now, sometimes for me, when I think about when I'm going through all this, it's like, how would I respond if my kid did the same thing to me, like I'm doing to God with this? Like, okay, I get it. I don't know. It helps me think of it. But okay, maybe I should chill out a bit, or maybe stop jumping from one. Just like stick with one thing and go through that problem. But so I guess tying it into the faith bit. Growing up, I think I remember some of your stories. Of course, I'll let you. I won't hear you share it, but. You didn't really grow up going to church too much, I don't think, or
no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I did not grow up in the faith, not really in any way. We guess we grew up knowing, I guess claimed.
Right. Well,
Christianity.
America,
that was the claimed.
Yeah. I don't know if you
faith.
count Kentucky South. We're in that weird spot in Kentucky, but like this region of the country,
right?
And even now, most people are at least by name. They would call themselves a Christian.
Right. We're in the Bible Belt,
but like you guys probably in your family unit, which was. You guys probably weren't going to church every Sunday or anything like that. It wasn't really a...
Oh, no, we never went to church.
What was your family unit like? I know that wasn't as, typical. Two parents, 2 kids, and whatever. Like it was...
I was an only child by my mother. And then we also moved in. My mother and my grandmother purchased a house together for a while, and we lived there, and then my cousin shortly thereafter moved in, and off and on with my aunt, and that was rough. My cousin, she has issues, always had issues.
Okay.
She was kind of abusive.
Okay, gotcha.
And she was older than me, and it was rough. It was rough running through that time. I was always on edge, always wondering, because she's like something
Gotcha.
just not right.
Was it something? Was it if you said something she'd get set off, or you did something?
It didn't matter. She was jealous. Apparently she was jealous of me. She got everything she wanted plus some, so I don't understand why. And she just always she's still just not. She's just, I don't know. Now she has issues, drugs and stuff. I mean, she had a rough childhood. I'm not even gonna.
She didn't come out in sunshine and rainbows.
No.
Kind of a product of her environment and broke that way.
Ish, yeah. I mean, not everybody. I just don't know. I don't really know her entire childhood history. So, but it was just, it was rough. I mean, it was, it was there. Not that there wasn't good times in the time, but it was like a daily stress.
Gotcha.
Honestly, just always on edge. And then finally, Mom knew it, and she eventually we moved in. You know, we got our own place. But yeah, no, Dad was, man, rarely ever around.
Okay. Yeah.
And he was a professed Christian, like hardcore.
Okay.
Weird religion.
Okay, gotcha.
Odd.
Not
odd
just like
place.
basic. Hey, I go to church on Sundays. And this is
No,
not
no.
my
He's
thing,
really strong in his faith, and I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're weird. I almost cultish.
Mm-hmm.
The Branham Tabernacle over in Indiana. It's
I don't know if I've heard that.
and yeah. So I mean, a few times that he actually came and got me on his weekend, I would go to church with him, and they would sit in this little church in downtown Jeff, and yeah, they would listen to tapes of Brother Branham preaching. I mean, this man's dead.
Okay.
And he's like, and they consider him a modern day, saint, prophet type person. And
this name sounds really familiar. I'm gonna have to look that up and see where I may have heard of this before. But basically, he was already dead and everything. But they would just
get
together
but be
in a
listening. Yeah, they do their little praise and worship, little hymnals.
Mm-hmm.
Do their hymnals, and I mean, and listen, sit around. I mean, like, it was weird because I mean, they'd be up there, have the head pastor, associate pastor, the old traditional style on the stage in the suits. They would talk some, but then I mean, sit there and listen. I mean, listening to the tapes, the hiss and everything. The speakers, and I'm just like, this is weird.
Yeah,
and that was, I don't know if that was my first service. Nah, I went to a couple Catholic services with a friend. Went to a Baptist Sunday, not Sunday, no, summer.
Okay, like a VBS type thing?
Yeah, maybe when I was young, some coloring, colored some Moses.
So you were getting some variety
Little sprinklings here and there. I would say my first true introduction to that little tug on your heart, where where God's speaking to you, was had a friend of mine who lived this is when I lived at my with my grandmother, and one of my best friends there, Steve Melcher. I had to draw up a name for just for my memories anyway.
Shout out to Steve.
Yeah. And his family, they went to Evangel, and they were part of praise and worship at Evangel.
Yeah.
So they went to church there, and they had their youth group and stuff like that.
And that's a pretty big church up here.
Yeah, and so they went there, and they were like, hey, I was listening to some AC/DC on my probably Walkman. I think tape. Yeah, I think it was a tape. Yeah. I mean, I'm just listening to whatever. I listened to all kinds. I had some tapes and stuff like that, and I was listening to it, and they were like, that's some that's really not the best type of music to listen to, and this, that, and the other. And they were like, introduced me, they said, do you know Jesus? And I'm like, I know of Jesus. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know the idea. I know Jesus, God's son. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy,
And it's been so long ago, I couldn't tell you verbatim by any means what was said, but I think it was the first time that I questioned.
Right.
Kind of got that little heart tug that just who is God, and what and what does he mean, and what and that was that first a seed.
Right. You said that was presented like a question.
Yeah.
Like, who is Jesus?
Well,
or-
I mean, they were just
Yeah.
they explained. You know,
Right,
they were like,
okay.
"Who Jesus?" You know, da 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 da. The whole intro. You know, as it's plus I was a child, probably 10,
okay,
11. Yeah, somewhere in that
Yeah.
range. You
So,
know,
pretty young,
so either probably fifth grade, sixth grade, somewhere in that range. You know,
And with
so
your, I guess your history leading up to this point, there's some wild and varied, stuff, and then you kind of get into something that's kind of a more mainline, traditional, not necessarily like super traditional suit tie, that sort of thing, but like, hey, like, what is Jesus about? Like, actually kind of
Right.
hearing more than just a name.
Right.
Or the name being a part of a cuss word or whatever, but like, but you're hearing enough for the first time, and that's starting to kind of plant a seed or
right.
start to put a
That
pebble in your
was
shoe, sort of thing.
that was one of those. You know, there was probably a few seeds planted for me.
Oh, probably,
you know,
yeah.
then before my come to Jesus moment. So
And how long did that take you to? What did it take long enough for that? Using the seed metaphor to germinate. And to start
I would
poking out,
say it was funny back at Evangel. So then we moved to Colonial Square.
Okay.
You know where we were, and that was within walking distance of Evangel. You could walk from the apartments. You go out the back fence, down the ditch, and cross over and go to and through the little neighborhood, and because they had the pool over there.
They did, yeah.
And they had their youth group and stuff. So, but I mean, I went on Sundays. I had went a couple times to service, and I'm trying to remember when like that what age I was. I mean, 13.
Okay.
14.
All right, so kind of getting into
somewhere in there.
entering
Yeah,
the
like
high school era.
Yeah. I mean, all the emotions, all the hormones, all the stuff, all the questions start popping. What's what, and yeah, that was kind of I went to Evangel. I remember. Yeah, that was the first time. I think I kind of give my life, but that first time that good Holy Spirit falling out, thing.
Yeah.
That was just like, what?
It went from a concept to an experience.
Yeah. You're sitting there, and I'm like, and what's funny is that it never bothered me that whole. You hear a lot of people say that the speaking in tongues and stuff like that. Always, people get weirded out by it.
Right.
I never did.
Really?
I was actually really intrigued. I think that's what kind of made it real
Okay. Yeah.
for me versus the whole, the whole thing where people just kind of go and they read and stuff like that. I'm like, that's versus a true interaction with God. Like you're interacting with God on a level that is so different.
So instead of I'm going to go do this thing for God, I'm going to read, I'm going to pray, I'm going to sit here and listen. All great things, by the way.
By all means, yes.
But it's kind of like God steps in on his side of the part. He does his part too.
Right? Yeah.
Kind of what you were feeling.
No. Yeah. I mean, kind of feels like more than just I guess how would you say like a one-sided relationship.
Right.
Versus, because I always kind of viewed like it always felt like it's always felt like a lot of people were like talking to God, but he wasn't talking back.
Right. Well, I mean, maybe not to. I don't know. I don't want to push too hard on the this idea too much, but kind of like if somebody like a loved one passed away and you go to their grave,
right,
and you're just speaking to them,
right,
and like most people, some people might have some experience, I don't know, but for the most part it's hey, you're talking to your grandma or your mom or whatever, and you are more or less just getting your thoughts out, and it's nice if they hear it, and it seems like there's plenty of people who would treat God in that way,
right,
and that's their kind of prayer relationship with God is that without expecting to hear anything in return.
That's exactly like, I mean, you're just hoping that he's hearing you.
Mm-hmm.
You're hoping that it's getting where it's supposed to go. You're hoping, but it's kind of like it's a confirmation.
Yes. That makes
sense.
sense.
It's that full confirmation that God is real. He's talking to me. He's interacting with me. This is not just some. It
doesn't necessarily have to be this big booming thing, but let's imagine you're texting someone over and over, and they're not responding, and then finally they just do a thumbs up.
Yeah.
And okay. It's confirmation. At least. It's like, that's all I'm asking for. Like, it's cool if you don't respond, but at least give me the thumbs up so I know that.
Let me know.
I don't know anyone who does that at all. Doesn't have to text back.
I don't know anybody like that.
Oh man,
that's rough.
But yeah, so you said maybe around 10 or so when you first had the seed planted, pebble in your shoe. You first were kind of confronted with it, and a few years later, right in the teenage phase, well, that's getting the swing of things. You started to have some kind of experience or encounter. Was you still kind of like in that weird like in between phase for a while, or?
I was experiencing a lot of things as a teenager.
Lots of things. I understand. Yeah.
I was experiencing the full spectrum of life.
Everything life had to offer. I understand. Yeah.
So it wasn't just God. It was. There was just a lot going on at that time, trying to figure things out.
Right. But you were actually trying to discover and figure things out too.
I
mean, there is people who would take I'll just let things happen to me, and I'll figure out what life is by what happens to me, as opposed to just kind of getting out there and trying to, experience life.
I had grand plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had grand plans. I was gonna, graduate, and I was gone. I was gonna be gone.
Get out of here. And
I was gone. I was going to a beach. I knew that.
Okay.
I was like, I was gonna be. I always knew I wanted to be a business owner.
Okay.
Always, I was self-employed, whatever.
Yeah. You didn't really care what it was.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know what.
You wanted your boss to be yourself.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I always knew that. That was something. I mean, from early, really early, like young. I was like, I don't want to work for anybody else. I want to work for me.
It is.
That's ingrained. That was like, that God made me that way.
Right.
Like,
hey, some people are that way, and some people take life, the opportunities in front of them, and some people say, no, this is what I want to do, and you go for it.
Yeah,
so,
I had no idea what I was gonna do.
Yeah.
I just knew I was like, I'm gonna.
Did you have any plans before you landed with what you have now? Was it just, hey, I'm gonna try to do, this kind of job in construction, or I'm going to do this kind of company?
Yeah, I mean, I tried different things. No, I mean, I didn't try other companies. I tried different things. Mm-hmm. This was, the moving thing was just I don't know. It was a decision of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
It was what is available. It was what was available.
Yeah.
A friend of mine had moved people before, and he was like, we could start a moving company. I was like, okay. and that's, I mean, literally, like, that's how it happened. It was that simple.
How old were you when you started, when you went down this path?
21, 22.
Okay. So pretty early into adulthood.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I think it was. Let me think. It was 02, 03, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So early part of the century.
Yeah, I did. I was doing deliveries out of my S10. I worked at American Freight.
Okay.
In their warehouse, and the delivery guys would not be able to pick them all up, and then I was working in there, loading people's stuff up and working in the warehouse, and then I would catch them. I'd be like, hey, if it'll be late,
Right. Yeah.
but if you want it,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll get it for you. And I'd show up. I remember one time I had 3 deliveries stacked in the back of my S10 pickup, probably stacked 8 feet above the bed.
Definitely not swinging in through a McDonald's drive-thru.
Yeah, no, I was, and I'd show up. These people's their eyes were as big as saucers. They're like, I had their stuff stacked on. I had a living room suit, a whole bedroom suit, and all stacked in the back of this pickup truck. And they were just like, I can't believe my stuff made it.
But hey, you did it.
Hey, I was, hustling at night, making an extra, I was thinking like $25 a delivery or something. So at the time, that wasn't bad.
Make a little bit more than that now.
Yeah. But
yeah, so I know you've, so you've been doing this for about 20 years now.
Over 20 years.
Over 20 years, right. And so you've traveled good bit of distances when you're in delivering, right?
Yeah. I've been all over the country.
Right. So
seen all kinds of interstate.
I bet you have, yeah. Is it all about the same? Or,
no, there's better views.
Better views than others?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, so that is interesting. I've, seen you kind of post around that, hey, you're in, this state here. You're at the beach here. You're, in the middle of the desert or whatever. You're in all these different places.
If you really go through if you went through my Facebook picture profile and scroll back, you'll see a lot.
Have you tried to keep track of which states you visited, like of the 48 states?
Ish. I used to collect magnets.
Okay, yeah. I thought that'd be cool to make a map out of the magnets.
I did for a while, and then the kids started losing them, and I was like, I don't even remember which ones I haven't done at this point.
Fair enough. So if somebody wanted to look you up here, they hear this and like, I think I'd like to give this guy a shot. Pack Mule Moving,
right?
And want to, hire you. It doesn't really matter where they're at. If you can work the deal out, you'd.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much either coming or going from here,
right? Like
to here or from here.
A neighborhood in Maine, and they're going to a neighborhood in Vermont.
That'd
be silly to hire you.
Yeah, right. I'm not gonna financially. I don't think it's gonna fly.
But if they're moving out there or they're moving, wherever along the way, definitely be something worth looking up. So, again, with moving everywhere and these 20 years of experiences, I know you've probably had some really smooth transitions. Hey, this is an easy job, nice and
right.
Good to go. And others might have been more memorable, more difficult. You got any crazy moving stories?
I got a few. I got one that really sticks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me about that?
Well, I mean, I was on one job, and we were hired to facilitate a squatter to be removed from a house that was purchased at auction.
That's a very polite way to say that. So well done.
And and while on the job, was in the room. There was 4 of us in there getting things,
It was a bedroom, kitchen,
bedroom, and and the person who was there came into the room, crawled under the bed, and grabbed a shotgun and discharged it into my foot.
So that would have been pretty point blank. Like it's
it was every bit of point blank as it could be. Yeah. It was.
And so so you guys are working on just trying to figure out how you're gonna move this furniture around. The guy goes in and grabs the shotgun.
Yeah, and I didn't see him. I didn't.
Have been loaded and ready to go.
Oh yeah,
I had to be. Shoot you, but he was careless, not using good trigger discipline. None of the gun rules.
I can't say. I don't know. I don't know. I can't say. I can't say in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. You just know he reached down and the gun.
I know that I was shot. That's what I do know.
I guess at that point, there's one major focus, and
Yeah.
at the moment, so you were shot in the foot. What happened? You know, like I'm assuming you probably had to. Did your
Immediately following?
Yeah, immediately following. So what happened?
Immediately following. In those instances, you watch movies, you see things, and they always have like this idea, and it's true. Like time slows down fractions of a second, literally, like everything, like just like a movie scene. You know, thoughts are running through my head. I probably had, I don't know, 30 thoughts and Q&A of my own, assessing that very second, like what's going on, all in that very small amount of time. Like, what happened? Was that a gunshot? That couldn't have been a gunshot. There's no way.
No way.
Yeah. I smell gunpowder. Yeah, that was a gunshot. That's
Wow.
Where did that come from? Where did it go? My foot's hot. Why is my foot hot? I think I've been shot.
All in a matter of
like this is
instantly.
instantaneously. Like all of these thoughts are all like seriously, you know, like that whole bullet time
Right.
thing, you know, where
It's
everything's
real.
like, you know, yeah, like that's
real.
how it all happened, and then I was like, I think I've been shot,
Wow.
and then once all that kind of comes to that realization, like you know, kind of like whoop, came all like back, and then it was just a bunch of kind of curse words that I've been shot.
Right.
And even though the first thing I said was I've been bleeping shot, and it was funny because I was in shock. So the only thing that kept coming out of my mouth, because that was the first thing that came out of my mouth.
It was the only.
It was, even though I was trying to say other things, I kept repeating what's up and shot. And I couldn't, and I'm trying to say, you know, all these other things.
It was the only thing that comes
but
out.
it was like, yeah, it was just on repeat.
Like your favorite scene you skipping.
And I just kept saying it. I was getting mad because I couldn't say anything else. So,
Well.
and proceeded to attempt to step on that foot. You know, and I didn't know what I'd been shot by at the time. I didn't know, 22, a 9. I had no idea. And then when I was down there, and I got to the, you know, like gimped my way, pouring blood all the way down to the steps, and I get down to the bottom, and there was a police station literally catty corner from this house.
Oh, okay.
So, and they came over pretty quick.
So they must have heard the shot. And
I don't think so.
Commenting?
I don't think so. But they got there, and yeah. And it was one of those situations, man. It was a turning point, and and a way for me to think about things, because it was in that, after all that, and I get down there, and I'm just trying to get, you know, trying to gather myself in that moment, and I'm trying to process all of what just happened
while you're still waiting.
While I'm waiting on the ambulance, and I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to process this. And in that moment, I knew I had to forgive this man that I don't know. It was a moment that I don't know if I would say God was telling me, he's like, if you don't do this now, then if you don't go ahead and forgive this man, if you don't make the decision right now, you will carry this animosity with you forever.
Yeah.
You know, you need to know. I think he was just preparing me that there, you know, it not that it wasn't going to turn out good. It's that this is going to be a hard road, and if you harbor this animosity, it's going to be even worse.
Exactly. Yeah, and I imagine. I mean, looking back, did you think that would have been the case?
Oh, I know it would have. I mean, I've seen people that way.
Yeah.
And I've tried really hard not to be that.
Right.
I've had it done towards me, and I didn't really understand it. It wasn't even warranted. But I mean, you know, I've had that happen, and I'm like, and I don't want to do that.
You don't want to be that person.
I don't want to be that person. That's just horrible. And it's not, you know, and I don't know. I don't know if the guy, I still don't know if it was intentional. I don't feel like the guy was all that there.
Okay.
Honestly.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if he intended to shoot, but not somebody. I don't know.
Right.
And
or if he was just reaching for it.
if he was reaching and it was an accident, I don't know.
It could, yeah, it could be
it's, you know, damage done either way.
Right. Well, I imagine in part of that journey there, you, like, your foot is still, you know, you're probably not going to be a foot model.
No, not by any means.
But even, like, your job is moving people and carrying heavy loads.
Right,
so you were out for a while. You know,
I was,
like,
yeah.
do it.
I was
Did your
out.
people finish the job at least?
No.
They didn't finish it?
No.
Oh, goodness, okay.
No.
No, I mean, that makes sense. If you're going to not finish a job, that one where your boss gets shot
This
in the
guy
foot.
actually had the nerve to call me and tell me, I don't know what he was attempting to. He called me while I was in the hospital a couple days later, and he's like, I was clearly under some serious meds at the time, so I can't even clearly recollect everything, but I know he called, and he kind of, I don't know, made light of the situation and was like, yeah, we're kind of both in a bind. I mean, and I'm like, you're going to equate with the fact that your stuff wasn't moved to the fact that you changed my life? like you're on the same level of inconvenience. You know? I was like, what? I don't even.
You guys being a comedian.
I was like, oh my, I can't even. I was like, I just hung up the phone. I was like, I couldn't. But yeah, and you know, another thing that happened immediately after was I was there. I was asking people. I was like, I was while I was sitting down there after I found out it was a shotgun, I was like, I was scared to death. I didn't know. My shoe was still on. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was at that point. I was like, it's mincemeat. It's done.
Yeah,
There's no way. There's no way. I got a foot left. It was 12 gauge, point
Peg
blank.
like Brandon at this point.
Yeah. I'm like, there's no way. I mean, the only thing holding my foot's on my shoe. At this point, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need someone to pray with me. Can you pray with me? Can you pray with me? Can you pray with me? And people were just kind of looking at me, and like nobody.
Was this at the hospital?
Would no, this is at the on scene, still
okay,
sitting on the bottom of the stairs, and
Man.
Ambulance still not there. I don't understand. There's literally right across the street. I don't know. It took so long for the ambulance to get there, and not just in the sense that I was literally to the point where I was like, I will drive myself. If they do not get here soon, I have another good foot. I can do this.
Yeah, I'd actually love to get it. Talk with somebody who works in the ER and like what I want to know. Like, what are the story? Like, what are the craziest I drove myself to the hospital stories?
Right.
That's just I would love to talk with somebody with that. But anyways, so thankfully you didn't have to do that.
No, I didn't. But and then eventually I just said, okay, I need you and you to come hold my hand. and I prayed for myself.
Wow. You just had somebody there to help,
I did. I prayed for myself, and that was in that same moment that I made it, and I prayed, and I actually prayed for God to give me the strength to forgive him.
Mm-hmm.
In that moment, I said, God, I just need you to help me, because there's no way. I was like, if I don't do it now, I'll
mm-hmm.
never do it.
Right.
And that was in that moment. And funny thing. Last year, I was on another move, and I moved a guy who was a pilot, and his son came over,
mm-hmm.
and he was like, "Yeah, my son. I forget what he does now, but his son was used to drive ambulances," and he said, and he comes in, and he's like, "You know what, guys? He's talking to us. He brought us lunch, and he's like, I got this really cool story." And I was like, "Okay, cool, man. Let's hear it." And he's like, "Yeah, man. I was on this job, man, and I responded, and I responded to this job. This guy had been shot on the job." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, man. This guy has been shot. He had been shot in the foot." And I was like, "Do tell."
Yeah.
And I was like,
okay.
and I'm like,
yeah.
"Oh yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, man. It was really." He's like, it was really wild. He's like, he said, "I couldn't believe how well this guy took it." I was like, "Really?
Really?
You think it?" I just thought it was. I mean, I met the guy. I met the ambulance driver.
The ambulance driver actually was a part of another job later on that you were able to.
Yeah, and I talked to him, and yeah, wow. It was because they insisted on taking my shoe off in the ambulance, and I was scared.
I bet.
I was like, "Dude, you can't do that."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Why? Why do you feel like you need to take this shoe off?"
Yeah. I've seen We Were Soldiers and Saving Private Ryan.
I'm like, why are you doing this? I don't understand why you feel like you have to. I was like, can we just go?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't leave. They literally made me sit there. I'm like, we need to go.
Oh, goodness.
And I'm like, why are we still here?
Right. Oh, man. But they were able to save your foot. Did you? How many?
No, God saved my foot.
Shrapnel, well, yeah, of course.
Because there's no way.
It really shouldn't have. Because I remember, we saw pictures of the X-rays and everything.
Yeah.
And we'll probably want to save some of this story for another episode because this itself could be a whole one. But, do you remember how many pieces of shrapnel were in your foot?
There's roughly pellets. There's over 100.
There's over 100 inside of your foot. Still in your foot.
Still.
Wow. So it's
they were like, they just said that it would destroy.
Yeah.
To remove it all would they were like, they said it's a non-ferrous metal.
Okay.
It's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna hurt me. They said it would do way more damage.
Wow.
Attempting to take it out than it would be. So they were like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I was like, whatever.
But you were probably recovering for a little while, but.
A lot of while.
Yeah. a lot of while. Yeah, no, I remember that because I remember afterwards you were trying to stay positive about it and not.
Yeah, it was rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a challenge.
Anyone who's trying to just assume what that feels like, you're feeling this every day for, this isn't like, oh man, you hear bad news about somebody,
right? And
then that's bad, but I'm gonna go eat dinner,
right?
And I'll think about it a few other times. Like this is every second of your conscious awakening,
right?
For however long that was. So that was you didn't want to stay in a negative mind space, because it's too easy. It is, and it's hard. Somebody else's fault, and
it's hard, especially you got a lot going on. Managed to keep the business going, and I mean this was at a time where I was still on every job.
Right.
I managed to keep business going, trying to keep guys busy. Trying to, like you said, stay in a positive mindset. I'm, relinquishing a lot of responsibility that I am just used to always having,
Right.
and that's hard.
I bet.
That was
In control too.
I would
mean,
yeah just I've been praying for patience,
mhm.
and don't ever pray for patience.
I've heard that before.
Don't, because that's God doesn't give you patience.
I will
He
say
gives
that-
you opportunity to
Yeah,
be patient.
it is weird when it comes to like movies, Hollywood, all that stuff. I cringe every time they do anything with faith because it's either super like cheesy or it's really off. Like, we're gonna portray Noah and it has nothing to do with that. Like, just read the actual story,
Right.
Whatever. But was it Evan Almighty, the Noah one?
Yeah.
With Morgan Freeman? That was probably one of the best, like, spiritual lessons that actually would line up with Christianity well.
Right.
In anything I've ever seen.
And
He's
the
like,
idea of the
if
story.
you want love, is God going to zap you full of warm fuzzies, or is he going to give you opportunities to love? And same with patience
Right.
and kindness.
Yeah.
There's going to be these opportunities. I've been told before where people would say, don't pray for that, because you're going to get it. Or don't pray for whatever God wants, because, and maybe it will, maybe it's not. I know my mom taught me pretty early on too, and she's like, if God wants it and it's good, just go for it. Now, sometimes you do have to go through some rough,
right? Yeah,
it's like I wish I could.
It was a rough.
But-
That was a hard one.
But I imagine the things that you've learned in that part of that process, the resolutions that you've had in the resolve, has basically solidified pretty hard. But pretty firm, right? Is that,
Right. Yeah.
Whether it is the forgiveness or the patience or whatever that is, like, you've
it was
going through that
Yeah.
sucked, but it's stronger now than it was before then.
Yeah. I would definitely say
So
that.
let me see if I can maybe summarize this. You don't recommend somebody shooting themselves in the foot, but if you go through a bad time, such as getting shot in the foot, staying positive and forgiving and having patience definitely helps.
It's yeah. I would just take anything that you go through that's that kind of hard,
Mm-hmm.
that puts you through that much. I mean, if you don't come out a better person, I mean, it's on you.
Right. The
I
opportunity.
mean, the opportunity was there. Yeah,
Mhm.
the opportunity's there. It's it's hard, and I mean, we're talking. Yeah, I mean, it sucked. It was horrible. There was times, I mean, it's not that you're not gonna feel bad. It's not that you're not gonna, question God. It's not that you're not gonna question everything in those times. Like, why me? But then I was like, why not me? Honestly, I looked at it. I was like, I'm nobody.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, in the grand scheme of
I mean,
things.
why are you so special?
Yeah.
This shouldn't happen to you.
Yeah, but I was like, why not me? So that's I just thought it was and then I tried to use it as this is a time that I can show my kids, my family, and others, how to overcome.
Absolutely. That's
In those situations, those moments. Don't let it. It can be a milestone in my life. It can be it's a point of which I measure time at this point. Like, in my household,
right.
we have before and after
Right.
of getting shot. I mean, it's like.
Yeah. Like,
I mean,
lots of people have before and after COVID. But
Right. Yeah,
got,
I have another one in
Yeah.
mind. In my life, you have that one, and so that's it's just an opportunity to become a better person.
I think that's brilliant. I think probably a good spot where we can start winding down a bit here. Man, I almost don't want to because it's such a great conversation.
No.
It is great. But let me definitely want to continue, do multiple more episodes with you because you got a lot to share. I think it's fantastic. But let's get you kind of the final interview questions I like asking everyone who comes on for the first time.
Okay.
These are rapid-ish fire.
Rapid-ish?
Yeah. So part of the show's charting life, the visual I like to imagine is there is an island that has been discovered, and you are sent as a team to go and explore the island. You're charting it out. You're making a map. What are the highs, the lows? What place is good, bad, dangerous, all that. You're exploring the island and charting it out.
Okay.
Charting life, right? See?
There we go. We're charting.
Anyways, so basically, you get 5 total people that you're bringing along with you, living or dead. The 2 little caveats is one person needs to be an explorer, survivalist, and another person needs to be an author or storyteller. Be people that you know personally, or people that are just,
fictional characters, whatever.
If you got fictional that you need to, yeah. So go for it, yeah.
So
explorer, survivalist, an author or storyteller of some kind, and then 3 others.
The explorer. Be man. Anytime I'm on spot, I'm terrible with names. That's my worst thing. But what's his name that got stabbed with the stingray?
Oh, Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin.
Oh my gosh, yes.
He would be because not only I feel like he's awesome and but he'd be entertaining.
He would be, yeah.
The entire time. He would be like, "Oh, look at this." It's
I got to say this as a brief little comment. People talk about oh, you know where you were if you're old enough for when JFK was assassinated. You know where you were at 9/11. I remember where I was when I heard Steve Irwin died, and I didn't believe it. And shame on me I was in. Anyways, so yeah, it's so you got Steve Irwin. Man, that's brilliant. Okay,
yeah.
And, author or storyteller of any variety.
Author or storyteller. Yeah. Oh man.
That could even be a film director. Anybody
No, I know. I know. We're on a podcast. A whole lot of silence.
No, that's okay.
I would just want someone. Jones, Earl Jones, James Earl Jones.
Okay.
He would be a great storyteller. Just listening to him tell stories. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. James Earl Jones as the audio.
Yes, dude, that'd be great.
Thinking on that, I would probably say John Rhys Davies.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that guy's amazing. Anyways, your 3 others. Who else are you bringing in? You got a wife and you got 4 kids, so if it's family, they all can't come.
No. If I'm on an island, no. I don't think I'd bring anybody in my family.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think they would be all that great.
And major religious figures don't count, so you can't bring Jesus.
Oh, okay. Man, this one's hard. I would think some friends.
Okay.
Let me think. I think I try to think, but all of my friends now, they're all terrible. They'd be horrible to bring. They're all in their 40s. Yeah, versus whenever we were younger.
Yeah.
Man, this is terrible.
So much for rapid fire.
It is. Rapid is not my choice. I would bring some Marines.
Okay.
Or something.
Pick some of the top from boot camp and
I would like I said, I'm just terrible. It's awful.
I got you. I
names on. I didn't get this far down the list. I prepared questions. I would have wrote a list out for you.
No, that's all right. It's and we can move on. But for me, I also wanted to pick somebody from the past, someone who'd be really cool to talk with or hang out with.
Right.
Theodore Roosevelt was one of the ones I picked.
He would be great.
He would be great. That guy.
He would be. He was.
I could go on. My favorite whole thing was we get shot and says, "Hey guys," goes to a speech, says, "I can't talk very loud because I just been shot."
Yeah.
Best opener to a speech ever. Well, you know, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's
Anyways.
it's rough.
Yeah. So there's a chance you're going to be on this island for some time, and you're going to bring crops with you. But you can bring one crop, fruit, or vegetable, whatever, to plant that's going to be there later if you need it. What is that?
One bacon.
You bring a pig to plant the pig.
Yeah,
Okay.
one
Oh,
crop.
man.
Man, that one's hard.
Yeah,
What's a forever? What can you? Wheat?
You do wheat? Okay. I know
You can make stuff with wheat.
We've had, was it corn?
Mm-hmm.
I think Derek said sweet potatoes. I think was his particular. I think when I say corn, I was thinking of you could be able to use the other parts of the corn for like the husk for, threads of some sort.
Right,
yeah, so
right. I don't know. I was just thinking you can make,
is.
because I know. I was just trying to think of something more. You can make more, with wheat.
Yeah.
You can do a lot with wheat.
Yeah.
So you can make bread and.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think on Jules Verne's book, The Mysterious Island, I think they had a few seeds of corn that they were able to plant and
right,
live off
and
of.
that's
Yeah.
corn's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would.
But
Carbs.
If you spent the next year of your life focusing on one area to improve, what would that be, and how do you think you would do that?
Health.
Health. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that now.
Yeah. Just like what you're eating, exercise, that sort of thing, or something else.
Yeah. I would health and overall health too. Not just the full the whole body. So soul.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Everything.
The whole
Yeah. Not just physical.
Yeah.
Because if you can, you got to work on. I'm learning you got to do it all as a whole.
Right.
Because
that makes sense.
if you don't keep up, if you do all physical,
Mm-hmm.
and you lose on the spiritual and mental,
Right. Yeah.
you eventually don't have the will
Yeah.
to do the physical.
Get in your whole, your
and
body,
and
your
yeah,
will.
you're like, and then there's got to be balance.
Yeah. I know I've tried to oftentimes stick to the one thing in front of me and keep working on that. But yeah, if you can address the whole thing, that's definitely better.
And the same thing on the other things. Your
Yeah.
mental health
Mhm.
and your spiritual health. If you focus on just those, I mean, you can lose on the other ones, and
Mhm.
you'll lose your want and will to do those.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Again, addressing the whole body there.
Yeah.
Or the whole human. So it's been said we should be able to seize the opportunities presented to us. How do you recognize opportunities in front of you versus just maybe, but this is a new question I'm asking. So
Okay.
Try to maybe word it in a way that makes sense now that I'm reading it out loud.
Right.
But basically, how do you recognize opportunities versus just this just happens to be a fact of life in front of me?
Opportunities versus this being a.
Or are they kind of the same thing? If you're
No. I'm
Yeah.
trying to read into to what this this is. So is this an opportunity versus, or is this something that is.
Let me think of a way, maybe on a practical level. So you said earlier that you've always had this drive and knowledge that you're going to be your own boss, right? And then
Right.
it kind of so happened that you started a moving company,
Right.
as opposed to doing a number of other things that you could have done.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that was an opportunity in front of you to take this opportunity? So was it an opportunity that presented itself for you, or did you say, "Hey, I'm just going to go do this thing"?
I would say that one for me, that was it was something to do, and it was probably not till years later that I realized it was something that I wanted to keep doing.
Okay.
It was more of I had just finished 2 years of school and realized it was a complete waste of my time.
Yeah.
And that I could do this and know I would at least be happier and be just as financially secure.
Gotcha.
Or at least I hope so. But that was so. recognizing opportunities. They don't. It's not always easy to notice that they are opportunities, and a lot of times I would say I've learned that you. If I feel like I'm addressing the question properly, that not all opportunities are ones you should take.
Okay, so maybe let's, if I'm understanding kind of what you're saying at, and also try to communicate what the question I was getting at, to for somebody who has a harder time recognizing opportunities in front of them, you could almost maybe say something along the lines of, an opportunity is kind of just a construct. There's, you make the choices that you make with what's in front of you.
Right.
As opposed to just allowing something to fall in your life.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, no. I mean, opportunities are definitely most opportunity. And I would say most of the best ones are ones that you make.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I mean, you're at least you're going to be able to narrow down what it is that you want for your outcome.
Right. Okay.
Versus if you're waiting on this thing to just happen to you. I mean, yeah, there is people out there that, I mean, it blows my mind. I think God just, I don't know. There's people out there. I'm like, I was like, I don't know how you do it. Like, you are given, like, some people are just, I don't know. They have the gift of luck.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That'd be a good gift to have.
I don't know. It's weird. Some people are just like, hey, they just. You ever notice those people that they just they float through life like the feather on Forrest Gump. I mean, and everything just they don't plan for nothing. I say and try to know when to stop trying for something. There's if it does not saying to give up, but sometimes it's just not. Maybe it's not. No, it's just not right now.
Right. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
These are maybe some more of the feely questions, so brace yourself.
Okay.
When was the last time you laughed until it hurt?
Oh man. It's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a few years.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not a stranger to laughing. I'm trying to. I can actually think of like a few times in my life where it was hilarious though.
Yeah, you just
I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some memorable moments that I had those. I mean, I had that a lot more. Those happened a lot more as a teenager.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Than
because of substances or not because of substances?
No, it was not. No,
Okay.
It wasn't for substances. No. A lot of times, yeah, those times in my life, those weren't even that. They weren't even that kind of laughter. No, these usually just having just goofy reactions.
Genuine in the moment. Sort of thing.
Genuine. I mean, those are awesome though.
Oh yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I could use some.
Yeah.
I could really use them. I would love to.
Well, let's think of the other end of that. Can you tell me about the last time you cried?
Like just like a quick tear, or are we talking like just full on like boo-hoo?
However you want to take that. While you're thinking.
The last time I could think. I mean, the last time that I can genuinely remember. I mean, I'm getting older, so I mean, it's weird. You get older, things become more emotional the older you get. And you're like,
that seems to make sense.
Like I start watching movies, and I'm just getting choked up on something. I'm like, this is stupid. Why am I getting choked up on this? This never would have affected me before.
Oh man.
But but I would say the last time I cried. I think it was like in recovery over getting shot. So I mean, I don't know what. Gosh, what's it been now? 7 years?
I think so. It was 2018, give or take.
Yeah. So
Something like that.
6 years maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, somewhere in there.
Okay.
It was, and it wasn't like and it wasn't over the pain. It was
Right.
it was in
That's
the
definitely
stress.
understandable, yeah.
Yeah.
What has inspired you recently? It's one of the last, recent times. Like, what's kind of inspired you?
Inspired me recently.
Yeah.
Um. Uh. I mean, recently, kids, grandkids,
Okay.
they've kind of inspired me lately. They've been, kids are getting into the time of their life. My older ones, they're doing their own thing. Um, they're inspiring me to. I'm really self-driven, and I always was, even when I was younger. And it's funny because they're inspiring me to more relax, not drive. So it's a different kind of inspiration.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to take it a little more, easy. It's really hard for me.
Yeah.
But like I'm planning a true vacation.
Okay.
This winter.
Nice. Not
like a 3-day, 4-day stint to Gatlinburg.
Gonna make sure your car's working just fine.
Yeah, I'm flying.
You're flying there.
Yeah, I'm gonna fly, and I'm talking. I've never in my entire time taken a true vacation in 20 years. I haven't had one. I mean, even those times I told you I still answered the phone.
You make the most of what's available to
you.
Yeah,
I still answered the phone.
Yeah.
I was still answering the phone, taking business calls,
Gotcha.
all that entire time, dealing with guys at working.
Yeah.
This time, I told my guys I'm paying them. They're taking off. We're taking a company vacation.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm not answering the phone. Like, it's not happening.
Leave an outgoing message, just to
we're on a company vacation.
Right.
Please leave
awesome.
him at I'm done. I need 7, 10, 14 days. I don't know.
Highest bidder, like an auction.
Yeah.
All right, so last couple of questions here. What does it mean to be a good man? And I want to do a full-on episode about this later, but
Wow.
think of it maybe in this terms. You've been at funerals,
Right.
and typically they'll say, here, like so-and-so, they were a good man, or they were a good woman, or whatever. Maybe less of the person that you're maybe thinking of at a funeral. When you hear the term, they were a good man, what characteristics and qualities come to mind?
A good friend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a good father. A good companion.
Mm-hmm.
These are all, they're kind of cliche, I guess.
Sometimes cliche is scratching at the truth.
Sometimes
the easy answer is the right
It
answer.
is, yeah. But it's that's when as a good man. I mean, a good leader to your family. A provider.
Okay.
I would say a provider to, and that's me. I am the believer of the old school of, as a father, as a, be the provider, be the protector, be the to your family,
Right.
I think, I probably, just as typical as the TV shows make it out to be, like I'm probably low on the emotional support side. I don't, I probably I'll fall short is in those ways.
But you see how we could make a whole episode off of that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But let me ask you this last question. Going back to our island idea, you're going out there. Things are going poorly. You're not going to make it back to your family. You're going to send a message to them. You got your goodbyes, I love you, all that sort of stuff. But what is the last little bit of advice that you would send to your family? You got maybe a page to write it on, you know.
Maybe a page and a few sentences.
Maybe a page. After you get off past all I love yous and everything.
Okay.
Like, and I'm going to miss you, like, what advice would you give to them as they continue to live their life?
To be the best, you know, whatever it is that you are, actually, this is pretty, do all things as though you were doing them unto the Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, if you follow that, and not saying that I always do,
right?
But
yeah, we can't even live up to our own advice,
yeah.
But giving them that direction.
But that, and you know, that I think, I mean, that is one thing that whenever I'm trying to guide myself, whenever I'm like, okay, what can I'm like, just do all things as though you were doing unto the, and I think, I mean, that's really one of those things that, you know, especially if you are a follower of Christ, at least. I mean, that at least that's, I mean, you know, that's only good advice to those of us who are
right.
So I mean, you know, I don't know how, you know, on that level, I think that would be that's an easy way to sum up how I could, you know, that would be a good way, because I mean, if you do that, you know, and then I really think that you can't really go wrong.
I agree. That's a great spot. Yeah, great spot to end there. That's a great bit of advice. So we're definitely going to have you back for multiple episodes, as long as I did not annoy you in doing all of this. No, but yeah, thank you, Brandon, for the conversation. And according to my son, this is going to get 400 million likes and people loving it. So we've got some work to do. And if I always hate doing the like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff, you know, but do all those things, and we can make my son happy by giving us 400 million people enjoying this.
I'll do my part. I'll share to my like 300 friends.
I'll do my part. If you're listening, you'll do your part.